What's up, traders? Matt from the Trade Brigade here doing a technical analysis on ticker symbol RIVN for Rivian Auto. On the left-hand side, we have the daily time frame, and on the right-hand side, the 30-minute intraday time frame. First things first, this is a brand new IPO for the electronic vehicle from Jeff Bezos, essentially. And, it's the first day of data. We don't really have too much, but whenever we're dealing with IPOs, there's three big levels that we always want to know. The first one is the IPO opening print. So let's grab the drawing tool and place that on the charts. That was here at 106.76, we'll call it. We also want to know where the high of the opening drive higher was at 119.44 here, 119.46 if you want to use the bubble and be precise. And then, of course, we also want to know where the low of the day was. That's going to be at $95.22. Now, why are these numbers important? Well, firstly, the opening print is important because that's where you get a ton of volume, where people just pour into the stock. If they want to be long it, that's when they get in. They say, you know what, this is like a 10-year hold for me. I just want to get in now. That's where they potentially enter. Okay, so 106.76 important. If we're above that, you get a lot of people who are potentially happy. If we are underneath that, you get a lot of people who are potentially not so happy, right? So that's the first level. Obviously, the low of day is self-explanatory. Underneath that, we really have no price history to go off of, so we would look for lower. Again, that's pretty self-explanatory. This is also the best place where someone could have entered the stock to the long side on today's session. So again, if you have the best trade location, your stop is probably just underneath the low of the day. And again, if we break that to the downside, you're probably bailing on the trade because you have the best possible location. We would be proving everyone who bought during today's session essentially wrong if the low of day broke. So that's why we want that one. And of course, the same but opposite is true here at the all-time high, essentially on the stock. The worst possible trade location for a long would have been up here. Those people are now obviously not happy because we're considerably underneath that. But if we were to take it out to the downside, or excuse me, take it out to the upside, those people would then be happy, and we could also look at that as a breakout to the upside. So again, these don't necessarily have to come into play tomorrow, the next day, even next week or the next month, but over time, these are the three big areas that we always want to focus on when it comes to new IPOs. Now, given the range that we've traded during today's session, basically, let's just round off here. Let's call it a $30 range, or excuse me, $25 range, coming from about 120 down to about 95. I'm all over the place with my math. So $25 range, right? Do we expect that to continue forever? Absolutely not. You're not going to get $25 range days on a stock that's trading around $100 every single day, right? You're not going to move 25% regularly inside of any name, which is why we just pointed out that this may take some time to actually resolve any of these three levels that we just pointed out. What we do want to do is also throw on the fibs just to see how the intraday price action resolved. So coming in from the high down to the low, because it was a red day, well, you'll notice the 50% range is very close to that IPO open. We always just want to go with the opening print, not the 50% mark, but notice the 38.2, right? This is where things are kind of interesting. The fact that into the end of the day, we actually resisted at the 38.2, rolled over a little bit. Now, don't get me wrong. I can see what's happening in the post market. We're at 106.16. So, roughly here at, back towards that opening print, just shy of it, of course, but back up towards that area. So the 38.2 isn't going to be critical, but I would just start to think about the opening print and everything we discussed in the earlier part of the video, noting that that's where the anticipated open is. A lot more people will be happy. So smiley faces up and over that opening print. And if we stay underneath and reject kind of at that level, that's where you get much more of a frowny face reaction, as many people will not be pleased with their positions working out. So it's really as simple as that whenever you're dealing with IPOs. Again, use small size on something like this. It's a very speculative thing to trade as of right now, simply because we don't have the history to back up any of these levels. That's really going to wrap up the video. If you enjoyed it or learned anything new today, let me know in the comments section or by giving the video a thumbs up. Don't forget our main channel is linked in the description, and all of that being said, I wish you a green trading week.